that's still not big enough for them. We need at least 1,000 to 2,000 gallons to house them for life in there.
How much is this platinum alligator gar? 2 months from that little guy to this big one. So what makes this one so special?
This is a Goliath Tigerfish. He gets right around 4 feet long. In the wild, they're known to get up to 12 feet long. That would be the A grade. That would go for about 2.
All right, so tell me about this bad boy right here.
All right, that's a platinum alligator gar. It's the platinum version of the regular alligator gar, are solid white essentially. They come from Indonesia, get about the same size, typically around 8 to 10 feet. And you can see this tank is a 500-gallon tank. That's still not big enough for them. We need at least 1,000 to 2,000 gallons to house them for life in there, but they'll essentially eat anything small enough for them. We used to have some that are about 39 inches. They would eat fish that are still about 15 inches.
How much is this platinum alligator gar?
$1,750.
Wow.
We used to have some going for around 2,000. This one has a little bit of black spotting on them that makes them a little bit less on the price, but when they're solid white, that would be the A grade. That would go for about 2,000 or more. That's the platinum redtail.
Oh, wow. So what makes this one so special?
So everybody has seen a regular redtail catfish before, but this one, obviously, it's solid white. He eats typically tilapia, shrimp. We try not to feed him live food since that can spoil the fish. Plus, it's could also have harmful parasites in there, so we want to just avoid that altogether. This one goes for about $1,150.
I'll take 2 of them. Do you have 2 of them?
Just this one right now.
All right, let me know when you have 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, look at this stingray, Eric. Tell me about this stingray.
Now this is a golden base albino stingray. One of the highest grade stingrays we have in the store at the moment. He is not for sale. We're keeping him for breeding purposes down the line since we would like to get more of this gene out.
So where does this guy come from? How do you take care of him?
Typically their origins are from the South America regions around Colombia or the Amazon, but these are captive bred and raised in Thailand, and that's where we can get the highest grade stingrays down there.
All right, another monster fish you have here is this African Arowana.
Everyone has seen a traditional Arowana before. This one is all black, has kind of an oddball mouth on him. This one essentially has almost like a goldfish mouth. A lot of people mistake him for a snake head. You can expect him to still get around 4 feet. They do grow a whole lot slower, but it's definitely an interesting type of Arowana you'd want to mix with your others, because they are actually pretty friendly towards most other standard Arowanas. I wouldn't put them with an African though. They like to fight each other. This fish isn't exactly for sale at the moment, but at this size, you can expect around $600 to $700 for this size, which is about 24 inches already. This is a 300-gallon, essentially just 2 150s put together. It's 2 feet wide. For the long run, you'd want at least 1,000 gallons.
Okay.
For its full size.
All right.
This is a Goliath Tigerfish. He gets right around 4 feet long. They're not gonna grow too fast. You might be able to keep them in a 75-gallon for about a year. Tigerfish, you can see their teeth, it's about long as a finger. Definitely don't wanna get bit by this fish, or nor do you wanna put any fish that you really value in with them, just in case they accidentally snag your fish and chomp it in half.
Wow, so a super aggressive fish.
Yeah, so they're mostly predatory, but the cases where I've seen them bite things in half, those would be very bad accidents, but I just avoid it altogether if that was possible. But they're mainly predatory. Anything small in there that can fit in their mouth, they'll go right for it, and they're fast too, really fast.
Now this sounds like a really mean fish. Are my fingers safe?
They're very skittish fish. Once they get scared, they won't really try to bite you. They might think it's food, they might just take a bite out of your hand. These do require very high flow conditions since they naturally live in very violent flowing waters, and that is actually what helps them grow the fastest as it gets them stronger. But in general, they just like really high flow because that's where they like to swim against the current. A lot of people have seen the Arapaima around places, especially on river monsters as well, and they are real little right now. We got some on this side. That took us maybe about 2 months.
2 months from that little guy to this big one.
The 3 inches to about 8 inches to this size. Had an Arapaima about 39 inches. It took us 1 year.
1 year from 2 inches to 39.
1 year to get to that size.
So you already need to have your aquarium size in place. How big does the tank need to be?
You will need 2,000 gallons or above.
2,000 gallons. It's the largest you've talked about so far.
In captivity, you can expect them to get about 8 feet, but in the wild, they're known to get up to 12 feet long.
How do they do with other fish? I see it's with other fish now, but can you depend on that later?
Later, as they get bigger, likely there's not a whole lot of fish that can be with them unless you have other monsters like the Alligator Gar that could work with them.
If you want to Arapaima, you better have a big tank and a lot of food. So Eric, I am very familiar with flower horns. At Aquacella, they do the flower horn contest. It's a big deal. The UFA comes out and everybody brings their flower horns. You have some here. Show me your best flower horn.
They're very small at the moment. They're only about 4 or 5 inches. Purely, the grading is based off of the size of the head. They call them cokes, K-O-K, and as well as the pearling, the colors on their body, and they have a cross pattern on their forehead as well. You'll see some other flower horns down here that have a little bit of pearling, but you'll notice there are some bald spots in the middle, and that's what kind of lowers their grade as well. Small, also as well, the head, the coke is not as big. You want them isolated. You want to keep them by themselves. I've seen them work with other fish. I prefer just to take out all risks together, keep them isolated, and a 75 gallon at least. These are definitely not real boring fish at all.
Right, I'm like, they have a lot of character. They're interacting with us right away.
Oh yeah, they're gonna follow us around all day. They'll jump out of the tank. Now they will bite. They do have teeth on them.
Decor in the tank?
Decor, you don't want any decor in the tank.
No substrate?
Because the flower horns have more sensitive internals or stomachs, we prefer to avoid substrate in most of our flower horn tanks, as if it could accidentally swallow any piece of gravel or any piece of sand. They have a lot of stomach problems. Any big piece of decor we like to take out, as it can smash their heads into it sometimes, especially if the coke is massive. Some of them can get cokes the size of your hand, and the flower horn's still about the size of your palm.
Right. What is a Payara? I just know it has very sharp teeth.
Payara, also known as vampire fish or vampire tetra. As you know, we mostly try to feed our fish tilapia and shrimp. The Payara are so far the hardest ones that we have to train to actually feed on frozen food. These are the only Payara we have at the moment that will immediately scoop up frozen food. They don't even hesitate and think about it at all. You can see on their teeth, they have 2 real long teeth at the bottom of their mouth that they actually use to skewer the fish. And if I remember, they actually have a layer of bacteria on their teeth, so if you get bit by them, you can actually feel a sting on it rather than just being like a normal bite. Now this is a platinum Endlicheri biker. A lot of people have seen your Senegalis, your standard Endlicheri. You can see most Endlicheris can be priced right around, the small ones at least, around 30, 40 bucks. Platinum Endy, you can expect $8.50. When they're juveniles, they actually get some gills popping out of the side of their ears, so they look almost like axolotls, and they actually shed them off over time. The gills were just to help them breathe better. This is the tilapia.
Okay.
We want to get the type of tilapia, it's the fillets. That'll make your life a whole lot easier. We get this from our supplier. That way we can make sure that this is chemical free. There we go. We cut nearly about 3 pounds of tilapia a day for these fish, for the whole store.
Okay.
And you want to make sure these are pretty small pieces, as especially what we're dealing with is the more expensive fish, especially like platinum endies. We'll cut in the very fine small pieces like this, only a couple millimeters.
So I'm going to take this thicker half because it looks like it's already thicker for the larger fish.
Oh yeah.
Cut it in half here.
Yep. Big handful right here.
Okay.
Come over to this tank. They're already all waiting. Watch them go straight for all the food.
He's taking his time. You
Oh,
better
yeah.
hurry up. You're not going to get that.
More of an algae eater. They can be omnivorous as well, but they don't have kind of sucker mouths on them. So they do take their sweet time to do that. And that's the one that stole his food right there, was the jellycat. And that one just snags the food like
Here
it's
comes
nothing.
the stingrays. Lunch. Eric, thank you so much for letting us come back to Raise Tanks today. We want to really thank you, Eric.
Definitely.
If you guys want more content like this, definitely go subscribe to the Fritz channel and go check out Raise Tanks. Call Eric, say hi, tell him you saw him on the channel, and pick his brain on monster fish.
I'm here all the time, 24/7. We're only closed on Tuesdays, but I'm here all the time.
Don't come on Tuesdays.